Obviously, we're playing a Texas A&M team that's tied with us. That plays great defense. They're well coached. I think they're a team that has played well of late. So we know we got our work cut out for us on Wednesday.
Our first question is from Tom Murphy of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette.
Yeah, hey Frank. When you look at you guys have just kind of been right there on that bubble most of the year. How important is your finish, do you think, in terms of making it to the field?
Well, we've got to win games. I think we can control our own destiny, and obviously we're in control of how things happen for us, and we've got two big games this week at home against A&M and at Tennessee on Saturday. So and then we got a postseason tournament, conference tournament in Atlanta. So there's games to be played, and we got to take care of business if we want to play in the NCAA tournament.
Quick thought on Player of the Year. Do you think maybe your guy Brown and maybe Wilbekin at Florida might deserve the most look?
There's been a lot of really good players in this league. I think Jabari is warrant consideration for sure, as Wilbekin, as a bunch of other guys. McCray or Relaford or there's a lot of good players in this league that should be under consideration for that.
Next up is Chip Howard of KZNE Radio and College Station.
Frank, what do you see when you look at Texas A&M?
Well, I see a team that plays very physical. They're holding teams to 42% from the floor and 28% from three. They defend, they play hard. Caruso is an outstanding playmaker, but he's a facilitator, and I look at Jamal Jones is a really good scorer, and Fabian Harris has been a guy that's been a thorn in our side since he's been there. So, well-coached team that's going to get after it and play extremely hard.
They've had a really hard time on the road making baskets. Obviously, you understand that going in. Is there special things you do to exploit that?
Well, we don't want them to make baskets in our building. So, I think that we're going to have to be on our P's and Q's. I think their ball screen offense is pretty good, and you got to defend it, and you got to figure out how you're going to defend it. And we got to do a good job. And on the defensive end, we've had some struggles there of late. Although I think our last game we were pretty good. So we've got to defend. We got to do a good job defending those guys.
Thanks, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Next is Bob Holt of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette.
Hey, Coach. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Bob.
Hey, I just wonder what your take was on Marshall Henderson after seeing him earlier this season. What kind of season you think he's having?
Well, I can only talk about the time we played him. He was outstanding in our game, so we had a tough time with him, and he was outstanding, and and his production in our ball game. So I haven't followed what he's done other than when we played him, and all I can say is he was really, really good in our game.
With all the defensive attention he draws, what's the key to him still getting up such a high volume of shots and points?
Well, first of all, he knows how to get open. He does a good job coming off screens, and he does his work early. Well, what I mean by that is that when he comes off his screens, he as good as anybody in the country. He can shoot coming away from the basket, and then he gets his foot pointed and gets in his shot real quick. He also has great elevation for a guy shooting a jump shot. So all those are factors in why he's able to still get off a ton of shots. And, just because how hard he works to get open, and he comes tight off those screens, and he can get into his shot very quickly.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Next is Steve Wallenchick of the Columbia Tribune.
Morning, Frank.
Morning, Steve.
How big do you think it was for Jordan and Jabari? You talked about them getting other guys involved more to see that, those guys make plays when they had opportunities on Saturday. Extremely important, and we need those guys to continue to do that, Steve, and as we proceed further in the year. And obviously, it was a game where I felt like, we stressed that, but we need those guys not to, continue to trust. And, obviously they made shots. Our bigs are 15 for 16 from the floor. But we got to continue to do that. I think that just makes us a better basketball team.